Your personal trainer might be an idiot. What's up, guys? Will Personal Training here, back again. I got my hair up today, got a little bit of a sunburn today. I'm here to talk about why your personal trainer might be an idiot, okay? So first thing I want to go into is that your trainer does not know what progressive overload is, and they do not put it in your program. If you ask your trainer if they know what progressive overload is and their answer isn't yes right away, then you need to drop that trainer and you need to go with someone else, because they are not going to help you towards your goals unless you have something completely unrelated to weight training with them or any type of athletic pursuit. You need to drop them. They're not going to be good for you. Basically, what you want to do over time is elicit adaptation in your muscle through exposing it to stresses that are greater than before over time. So what that could mean is when you squat 135 for 5 sets of 5, next time you squat 140 for 5 sets of 5. Okay, that's a form of progressive overload. If your trainer is going to have you see any increase in strength and muscle gain in your program, he's going to have to know what progressive overload is. He's going to know how to put it into a program correctly, and he's going to have you follow it and try to achieve that with every single workout. Okay? Without progressive overload, your program is nothing, your workout is nothing, and your trainer is nothing if he knows nothing about it. So if you're one of those people that might be too afraid to ask your trainer, like, hey, do you know what progressive overload is? Or, hey, I've heard about this progressive overload thing, what is that? So here are the 3 factors you're going to look for to determine that your trainer probably doesn't know what it is. So your first one here is that week to week, or maybe even month to month if you're more of an advanced trainee, you're not seeing any changes in reps and any changes in weight in the exercises you're doing. As in, if you're doing a squat, and you're a relatively new trainee and you just got into the weights, you should be seeing the repetitions and the weight go up very, very quickly. So definitely on a week-to-week basis. That's not happening. You might not know what he's doing. Second one is you're constantly rotating exercises. Progressive overload, one of the main tenets of it is, obviously it's a training principle. You're going to need to stick with pretty much the same exercises. 90% of your exercises week to week are probably going to be the same. And you're going to want to get better at those over time. If you're constantly rotating weird exercises, there's probably no element of progressive overload, and your progress is going to be basically impossible to track if you're constantly changing exercises or doing something a different way every single time. And the third thing, I mentioned it in the second reason, is that you're doing a bunch of weird exercises. If you're doing exercise that you have never seen anyone else in the gym do before, that doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible, but it does necessarily mean that it's weird, okay? Progressive overload is mainly done on, big compound movements, and those are going to be the best ones for you, like a squat, deadlift, bench. Those are going to be some of your best movements to achieve progressive overload with. If you're doing a Bosu ball squat with one dumbbell in one hand and a sprint afterward, and your goal is to build muscle and your goal is to build strength, they have no idea what they're doing. There's no element of progressive overload to a Bosu ball squat. You can't increase weight and reps over time on an unstable surface. The stability is going to be holding you back. And there's not a straightforward path of progression with that. There's no real normal linear increase in reps or weight on the exercise, because eventually you're going to have to change the stability, aka get rid of the ball, or maybe stand on one foot on the ball or something like that. All right, here's the second biggest reason you might know that your trainer is an absolute idiot and doesn't know what he's doing. So if you come to your trainer, you're like, hey, I need to lose some fat, okay? The first thing that you're going to want to know from him is that he knows that fat loss is achieved through calories in, calories out. All right, that is it. Said that in my first video, talked all about it. That is the way to lose weight. Said law of thermodynamics, there's no way around it. All right, calories in, calories out is the way to lose fat. Okay? If your trainer is unaware of that, if he has you doing some fad diet, I remember my past experience at LA Fitness. I was working at the front desk, wasn't a personal trainer yet. One of my trainers that I had worked with, he made one of his clients go on a vegan cleanse to where he was making them fast and then eat a very low calorie vegan diet, and she ended up passing out, and the diet didn't work at all. Now, what was the reason for that? Did she want to go vegan? No, she didn't. Did she want to pass out and eat very little? No, she didn't. He was just putting on it for some weird reason. He obviously didn't understand that calories in and calories out is the scientific, irrefutable way that you lose weight, okay? If your trainer has you on a diet and there's no tracking of the calories, or there's no even thought around the calories of your food, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to provide an effective fat loss plan for someone. If you're with a trainer and they are having you on a fad diet, that is probably another way. They have no idea that the science behind it is calories in, calories out. Another thing too is you're probably going to want your trainer to clue you in on the thought process behind a diet he's having you do if your goal is to lose fat. Okay, and if he doesn't mention anything about calories, or if he doesn't even put the emphasis on calories, because calories in, calories out is 99% of a diet. There is, of course, that 1% that is something else I went into in my previous video. They're going to know that it's the majority of the diet. I have all my clients, they track their calories who are doing fat loss with me. And I told them all, like, hey, what we're doing is we're getting your calories less than your maintenance so we can lose fat. A way that you might know that your trainer does not realize that calories in, calories out is the way for fat loss, and that is how weight loss works, is if you're currently on a diet, like I said, and there's no element of calorie tracking, there's no emphasis on calories in your diet. If they make it seem like the type of food you eat is what was making you lose weight, they don't know what they're talking about. You need to drop them, get someone else that understands. If they do not look at your diet in any way, if they have no idea what you're eating, they just make recommendations, then they're either not taking you seriously as a fat loss client, or they don't know what they're doing, and they're blaming you eating certain foods on why you're seeing a lack of progress. When in reality, you can eat any food you want, but if you're in a caloric deficit, you will lose weight and you will lose fat, especially if you're resistance training. The third and final reason why your trainer might be an absolute idiot is they do not put a very heavy emphasis on teaching you correct form and correct range of motion on your exercises at the very beginning of your training career or your training career with them. What you're always going to notice is there's going to be a very full range of motion on all the exercises you're doing if you're doing them correctly for maximum results. If you have a trainer that has your bench press stop above your chest for any reason, because there's really not any reason whatsoever to stop it above your chest, well, that's a good one. Then your trainer might not know what they're doing. Incorrect form on exercises is going to lead to pain, and it's going to lead to discomfort over time. You may not see it right away, but over time you will. If they do not have you tucking your elbow on a bench press, if they do not have you keeping your back straight on a deadlift, then they're probably not even aware of what correct form is, and they're not going to have you be aware of it because they don't know what they're doing. You're always going to want to be doing full range of motion and correct form on all your exercises over time. Especially when you're a new trainee, what you need to focus more with your client is to build motor patterns. So if they eventually do take off without you, or they stay with you for a long time, they're doing exercises correctly, and if you're incorporating progressive overload into your routine effectively, they're going to have great form and be progressively overloading on top of that. What might happen is people progressively cheat, which Jeff Nippert has gone into in one of his old videos, where the form is good, except you increase the weight or you increase the reps, which that's progressive overload, right? But the range of motion shortens. And if your trainer doesn't say anything about the progressive cheating, as in you may be progressively overloading on weights and reps, but your range of motion is coming up, so you're not actually working your muscle more. It's just ego lifting and progressively cheating, right? Instead of overloading. They don't really know what they're doing, and they are misguiding you. You need to go with a trainer that's going to teach you great form, consistent form as you continue training on your own or with them. And they need to include full range of motion on every exercise they're doing with you, provided it's not a partial range of motion exercise like a spot-o press, jam press, or a floor press, a box squat. Those are certain examples of where it's okay because that's the actual exercise to have a partial range of motion on. Okay guys, just to go over summary here, why your personal trainer might be an idiot. Number one is if they don't know what progressive overload is, they're not incorporating progressive overload effectively in your program, if at all. All right. Number two is going to be if you're doing fat loss or a diet plan or weight gain with your personal trainer and they don't understand that calories in, calories out is the main determinant of your weight and where it's going to go, they don't know what they're doing. And number three is that they're not having a very heavy emphasis on teaching you correct form and full range of motion on every single exercise. All right, guys, peace out.